Guess which cameras we're trying next? Yes, today we are checking out the cameras of the Samsung Galaxy A71. This is Samsung's newest mid-range device, and as you can see from the photo on the box, it sorta looks new because it looks like the Samsung Galaxy S20's back. There are 4 rear cameras on this thing and a punch hole selfie, so in this video we're gonna be checking out what those cameras can do. By the way, at the end of the video, I'll let you know how you can win yourself your own Samsung Galaxy A71, so stay tuned. But before anything else, we're unboxing this. It's unboxed. So under the cover, we have the SIM eject tool and of course, papers that we're never gonna read. In the box, we have the usual. There is a power adapter. It says super fast charge and it's a USB-C. There is the cord, which is USB-C to USB-C, nice. And then of course we have the earphones. This more or less means that there is an audio jack on this phone. And finally, the actual phone. That's a pretty thing. Oh, and I heard there was a pink version of this. I sorta want it. Right, so here we are. This is the Samsung Galaxy A71. It's so pretty and it has a really nice rainbow reflection. It looks good, but this is actually a plastic back, believe it or not. There are 4 cameras on the back. Up front, there is a punch hole. The screen is nice and bright. There's a volume rocker on the right and then an unlock button. I love that screensaver. Like, it sort of reminds me of an exhibit that we saw when we were in Japan. There's a fingerprint unlock and a face unlock, and then on the other side, at the SIM eject tool. At the bottom, speakers, USB-C port, yay for USB-C, and then audio jack. The camera on the back is not as thick actually, so that's good. The phone feels nice and snappy. There is an app drawer on the side, which is an additional Samsung touch that I like. There's also an always on display, so this is an AMOLED screen. Anyway, you know what it's time for? A montage. Right, back to the phone. Now I'm gonna walk you through the cameras. So we have the photo mode, there's a wide, and then here they call it the scene optimizer. I think it's the AI because this changes depending on what the camera sees. So for example, plants or sky or pet. And then in video mode, you have wide angle mode and then the 1x. Then of course we have a macro mode, a pro mode, super slow mode. There's even a food mode. Ooh, AR emoji on this thing. That doesn't look like me. Okay, I can sort of like edit it. I think this is the best. So now I have my AR emoji and there are different modes too. Like you can shoot photos and videos with it doing a mask-like thing like this. And then you have this, which sort of gives you a blank background and it still copies like what your face does. And then you have this mini AR emoji. It says here that if I get my whole body in the frame, your emoji will follow along. So that's pretty cute. We also have live focus mode, which allows you to do a blur of 0 to 7. On video mode, there's also ultra steady mode, and then there's also AR doodle. This just means I can draw like certain things on my head and like it's gonna follow along. I like this feature. Now on to the selfies. Now you have one camera over here, but the selfie mode does a wide angle mode, which gives you a slightly wider shot. For video, it's just this one shot. You can't zoom in or out. Of course, there's the iconic palm gesture selfie mode. Before anything else, let me give you some quick selfie hacks using the Samsung phone. If you go to settings, turn on voice control. So if I turn that on, when I turn it back, when I say cheese, cheese. Gosh, the neighbors are wondering why I keep on screaming cheese. Cheese! Oh, it has to be louder. Cheese! Yeah, you get the idea. And then, so this is gonna be easier. You can do a floating shutter button. And so that's this one. You can move it around. Let's say you're holding your phone from this angle. And I can just drag this on here. And then I go like cheese. On live focus, you also have a wide angle mode. And then a normal mode. And also tapping this will give you different filters. And my favorite, the beauty mode. There are the different like settings where you can change like smoothness, tone, jawline, eyes. Right, okay, so I did bring this around and my thoughts on the camera. First off, I was curious about the fact that this phone has a dedicated macro shooter. Now, why would we need micro shooters, one would ask? Well, easy, for taking photos of beautiful tiny stuff like, let's say, rings and jewelry. Here are some shots that I got. By the way, if you think that these rings are pretty, these rings are handmade by my friend Vera, so you can find her on Instagram. That's at Vera Metals. Yeah, it's not even sponsored. I just really like her cute stuff. Know that these rings are the same rings I'm taking photos of. These are teeny. This was shot on macro mode. They all look pretty clear and nice. Macro mode basically allows you to shoot like at a nearer distance. So I think I was like this far away from the rings, and that way I'm able to get all the nice details. It's so good that it was even able to take a photo of the tiny inscription inside the band of the ring. If you're not impressed, let me show you how the normal camera would shoot this without macro mode. As you can see, it won't even focus on the ring itself. And then this is the wide angle. Please don't mind my mess. That is literally how every shoot looks like in real life. Anyway, you might be asking, but Isa, why can't we just zoom on subjects so that we capture all the detail? Well, you'll see the difference. Here in this next photo, I actually just zoomed in. As you can see, it's not the most detailed photo. Definitely the macro mode photos look way better. Next up, of course, we have the wide angle cameras, which is something that I now feel should be standard on most cameras. Why? Because it's just the easiest, most versatile mode, especially for me who sort of likes taking OOTD shots or travel photos where you can take in all the scenery. This is just something I feel is more useful than the zoom. Also why I'm not so hurt that this phone doesn't have a zoom camera. So these are sample shots of a bouquet. As you can see, there's still distortion. When I say distortion, I mean you know it's a wide angle camera. Side by side with the main 1x shooter, you can see the difference. For comparison's sake, this is a zoom shot and this is a macro shot. And I keep on going back to the macros because I'm loving the macro camera on this. I mean, obviously, the main shooter on this thing is pretty good. I'm not surprised. There is a live focus mode on this, and it works on people, objects, and even dogs. I tested. I'm pretty impressed with the bokeh cutout, especially because my dogs are pretty hairy. That's a lot of hair everywhere, and it doesn't look so fake cut out. But also, if you feel like the blur is too much, what I love about Samsung's live focus mode is you can adjust even after taking the photo. So that's always a good thing. I'm showing you photos of dogs right now. And make no mistake, even if they're the cutest things in the world and you think that they're really easy to photograph because they are cute, they're not, because dogs move a lot. And the cameras were able to get great shots of the dogs. Always something that is a benchmark when it comes to camera performance. Right, again, more wide angle shots. I find that in perfect lighting, the wide angle camera performs way better. As you can see here, you can see the bright colors and the fact that on the other side of this table, like, it was pretty bright. So I'm pretty impressed in HDR and how like the background isn't so blown out. The dogs are so cute. Yeah, okay, back to the photos. Like, I love the detail on this. You can see also. Anyway, bottom line is when it comes to photography in settings where there's ample light, I think that these cameras did splendidly. Speaking of great lighting conditions, I also tried Samsung's slow-mo and super slow-mo. So as you can see, it makes for some really cute doggy videos. I honestly don't know what my dogs are doing at this point, but it was still cute. On selfies, I think the photos are decent. I'm not the biggest fan of Samsung's beauty mode. My pimple wasn't having it, so I didn't like how it ended up. Anyway, it took me 17,000 years to get selfies that I like on this phone, and usually on a day I'm not liking my face so much, I just resort to beauty filters. Not too much though, just right to freshen me up, but I didn't like the beauty filters on this so much, so after a few tries, a lot of tries, and some great lighting, I was finally able to get it. Don't get me wrong, it still can do great selfies, just no beauty mode shortcuts that I like. I tested the low light capabilities, and as you can see here, night mode is available on both wide angle and the main shooter. The difference is minuscule. I'm not so impressed by it. In this group shot, you do see how it made everything brighter. There are some parts where it's still like a little smudgy. Although I know being at restaurants can be like the most challenging lighting scenario, so I mean, I get. But yeah, I've seen better night modes on other phones. That's all I'm saying. At this point, I mean, for me, I just started taking photos with the normal shooter because I felt like the little difference that the night mode made wasn't worth it for you making everyone pause and stop moving, because as we all know, the night mode like takes longer. And in better lighting conditions, those noodles still look very, very good now that I look at it. Unfortunately, we also see like the quality drop when it comes to the wide angle mode. So in low light situations, better to stick to the main camera. And now finally, we move on to videos. So this is the front-facing camera of the Samsung Galaxy A71. As you can see, the audio is good, it's looking pretty good, but unfortunately, there is no super steady mode on the front-facing cam. So let's switch to the rear camera. Here we have the normal 1x mode, and then we can zoom in up until like 8x. Now this is the same view with a wide angle. There is no zooming in and out at this point. Right, so now this is me walking. This is the normal mode. No super steady. Now this is a walking shot using the super steady mode, which unfortunately you cannot change. Right, let's see this side by side. And this is a feature which I feel is so underrated and Samsung is winning at. There is the motion photo mode. Basically, when you take a photo, it takes a short clip to more or less like live photos on the iPhone. But on the A71, it allows you to 1, edit that video, 2, turn it into a GIF, and 3, it allows you to take like specific screenshots in that video. So for example, you're shooting dogs and they won't stop moving, you can turn on the motion photo and then just pick out a frame, and voila, you have the perfect shot. And that was my Samsung Galaxy A71 camera test. I think all in all, this is one well-rounded device. But in terms of camera performance, it is a signature Samsung camera, right down to the AR doodle, which is something that we used to only be able to do on flagships, AR emojis, and even the slow-mo modes. I honestly think that these are good cameras, and the flaws that I saw in them are pretty reasonable for a mid-range device. I'm loving the fact that there is a wide-angle selfie option no matter what. And I know some friends of mine, like Jamie from Unbox, said that they'd rather do a zoom camera than a macro, but I don't really mind. So final thoughts, it's a great looking phone, literally great looking because of that awesome screen, and for that price point I think you get reasonable, reliable shooters. Some news though before I go: if you want your own Samsung Galaxy A71, Unbox PH has a giveaway ongoing, and yes, they're giving one of these away. You can check out, I'll link it down below or here. That's it for today's video. If you have questions about this phone, or if you just want to know more about my day-to-day or what gadgets I'm featuring next on this channel, you can check me out on social media. That's @CisaSaid. Until next time, bye!